Hello and welcome to Everyday Petrolhead. I'm your host Terrence Anderson and welcome to my channel. I had to refilm this video because I filmed it last night on the way home and the camera just was shaking like crazy. It was nuts. I've been having some problems with this car for years. Well, I've been having problems for years with this car regardless. But the suspension has just been a pain in the butt. I hate air suspension. But we're not here for that reason. First and foremost, I wanted to apologize for taking such a long break. There's been a lot going on for us. Most recently, we had to replace the Ford Explorer, 238,000 miles, transmission died, so it is what it is. But beyond all of that, I took a little bit of a break because I needed some family time. I mean, we got 3 kids and my wife is awesome and we just haven't had a chance to really spend some time together. So what I wanted to do in the new year was do things a little differently. I'm also not going to be as active with my uploads, mainly because I am in my last semester of my bachelor's degree. I decided to go back and finish it up. And there's a lot of work in this last semester. So just bear with me. We have 13 more weeks of school, and then I think we'll be able to get back to like once a week uploading something. So thank you for being patient and joining me this morning on a nice, cool day in Malibu. As you can see from the weather, it's actually kind of nice outside at the moment. And what I want to do with this year is go down a different road. I want to kind of step away from the DIYs. So what I decided to do was, let's go over a list of cars that didn't come into this country for one reason or another. And I think we'll start with my second favorite manufacturer, which is BMW. A lot of people don't know how much I know about Mercedes. Mercedes is kind of my number one favorite manufacturer. So yeah, let's dive into it. All right, so first on the list is the BMW E46 Compact. Essentially, it was the original 1 Series. It was a cute little car. It definitely made it to Europe, but it never came to America, probably because, during the time frame that it was being made, America was kind of on this upswing of getting larger vehicles. People wanted to buy bigger vehicles, and a subcompact is not really something that people really want. I feel like it was probably the underpinnings for the original Mini Cooper once BMW took over. What made this car a little unique was it was one of the only ones that they ever made where the headlights were carved into the metal of the body. So rather than have a whole headlight housing, it was like, the 4 circles, and they were poking out through the actual metal of the hood and the bumper. So it was actually kind of unique looking for a BMW. And the roof line raked so far back that the back seat was actually functional. So you could actually fit 4 people in a car, kind of similar to how Mini Cooper is structured, where the roof line goes so far back that there's actually enough room for somebody to sit in the back seat and be comfortable. But yeah, it was a subcompact hatchback and it didn't make it to America. So that's the first one on the list. Next on the list is the E36 station wagon. Now, there were a lot of 5 doors in the 90s, but BMW didn't bring the hatchback station wagon for the 3 Series to America. They brought every other model to America but that one. And that's kind of interesting because at the time, a lot of people were buying the 3 Series. I mean, it was like the car to buy. I mean, I'm not going to say it was selling as many as the Ford Explorer, but man, the sales numbers were really, really high. And I think that BMW missed an opportunity to sell, the station wagon in America for that model, because I think people would have scooped it up in a heartbeat. Now, third on the list is one that a lot of us have seen. It's kind of quirky. They didn't make too many of them. And that's the BMW Z1. The Z1 was an interesting roadster. First off, it was a plastic body paneled car. It was something that was an idea that they decided to try out. And what was cool about it being plastic panels was that if it got damaged or scratched, you could just take the panel off and replace the panel. You didn't have to paint the panel or figure out how to replace the dent. That made it kind of unique. They only made about 8,000 of them. And also, it had doors that fell down and went under the body of the car. Now, that made the door sills wide, so it was kind of a process stepping into the car if you were a shorter person. But overall, it was actually a pretty cool car. And because the panels were plastic, it made it light. I don't know if you've driven a car that the body panels are plastic with all that weight savings, it's interesting. It's actually pretty zippy. When I went to college the first time, a friend of mine had a Saturn. I forgot which model it was, but he had a Saturn and it was all plastic body. And honestly, we used to take Honda Civics to town racing because it wasn't that the Saturn was faster, it just weighed less. So because of all that weight savings, it helped the car to actually move fast. The Z1 is the same thing. It had the same motor out of a 325 and transmission out of a 325. So it was very peppy and it had a lot less weight. So it was kind of like a very expensive Miata in that sense. You know, that's what makes the Miata so much fun. It's a light car and it's got a moderate amount of power and it knows how to put that power down. So the Z1 is, you know, a collector's item and it's a great little car if you can find one. But again, only 8,000 were made. So very hard to find in great condition, you know, and import into America. Now this one hurts me because it seems like I'm listing a lot of station wagons and it's probably going to continue like this for a little while. But this one hurts me because it's one that would have been awesome to have in this country. We're talking about the BMW F10 station wagon. Now, if you've seen what they call a shooting brake, which is basically a station wagon in America, Mercedes made that very famous with the E63 AMG station wagon. Oh my God, that car is gorgeous. That car is fast. That car is amazing. Could you imagine an F10 M Series station wagon? How much fun that would be. Back in the early 2000s, they made an E60 station wagon as an M5. Not too many of them were made, again, only in Europe, but that thing was awesome. And I could imagine that in this country, everybody would have ate that up. I think BMW lost out on that opportunity. So yeah, it would have been nice to have that. I would have bought that. I would have bought that in a heartbeat. I'd have bought two. My wife would have told me not to. I'd have bought two anyway. I'd have got in trouble. I might have been more in trouble than I'm saying right now. Let's move on. What are we talking about? And the last on the list is the E30 station wagon. So yeah, like I said, I told you there's gonna be a lot of station wagons today. And this one, I get why they didn't bring it to the country because again, the E30, it was selling, but it wasn't selling, you know, high volume numbers. And, you know, American culture wasn't really into station wagons at the time. At the time, station wagons were what your grandfather drove. It was wide, it was bulky, it was inefficient. Like nobody really wanted these things. They only bought them because you had a huge family and a dog and you needed something. And SUVs weren't really a thing back then. So I think it was a good choice not to sell it in America, but it would have still done a decent job. And it looks beautiful. The E30 is one of the top sellers for BMW. And again, same deal. The station wagon would have been a nice find in America. And also, it was one of the few station wagons that were all-wheel drive at the time. So there's that. So there you have it. 5 cars from BMW that never made it to America. Some of them you can import now because they've passed the 25-year rule. Obviously, you can't import the 5 Series F10, although that would be really nice if you could. And let me know what you think. If you can think of any other BMWs that you wished were brought to America, just put it down in the comments. Let me know. If you like this style of video, also put a comment down there and let me know. I'm definitely looking to try to do something a little different when it comes to the channel. And thanks for indulging me doing a stationary video for a change, since this car wants to do this all day long while I'm driving, and that doesn't look good as a video. So if you like what I've been talking about, like, share, and subscribe, and catch me next time on Everyday Petrolhead. Thanks.